I don't even know where to start. I moved out of my parents' house 2 weeks ago, thinking I'd finally have some freedom and space of my own. At first it was exciting. Decorating, staying up late, no rules. But now, I wish I never left. I don't feel safe here. I don't feel alone. It started small. I'd put my keys on the counter, only to find them on the floor or in the fridge. I thought I was just forgetful. But then it got worse. One night, I came home, and all the cabinets in my kitchen were open. Every single one. I know I didn't leave them like that. A few nights ago, I woke up and noticed my closet door was open. I never leave it open. I swear I shut it before bed. As I stared at the dark space inside, I heard it. Soft, raspy breathing, so faint it could have been my imagination. But it wasn't. I pulled the covers over my head and stayed like that until morning. The next night, I woke up to a noise under my bed. At first, it was just a low creaking, like wood shifting, but then it escalated. A scream. Choked, gurgling, and desperate. It wasn't loud, but it was enough to make me freeze. I couldn't move, couldn't even breathe. When I finally got the courage to grab my phone and turn on the flashlight, there was nothing under there. But the shadows are the worst. At night, I'll wake up and see someone in the doorway, just standing there, not moving, not blinking. The first time, I thought it was a trick of the light, but it's happened every night since. Sometimes they're closer, like they're stepping into my room, and I can't tell if they're real or if I'm going insane. Last night, I locked my door before bed. When I woke up, the lock was broken, the door wide open, and there were faint, wet footprints leading into my room, stopping right next to my bed. This morning, I found something on my bathroom sink, a hairbrush. Old, cracked, with hair still tangled in it. It's not mine. I don't even own a hairbrush like that. When I touched it, it felt damp, like it had been pulled from somewhere wet. I threw it out, but an hour later, it was back on the sink. I've started hearing whispers when I'm home alone. I can't make out what they're saying, but it's like they're coming from the walls, just low enough to drive me crazy. I can't eat. I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I feel like someone's watching me. I don't know what to do. I can't stay here, but where can I go? My parents won't believe me. They'll say I'm imagining it or being dramatic. But I know what's happening. There's something here with me. Something that doesn't want me to leave. Something that wants me to stay. And every night, it feels like it's getting closer. Update. It's happening today. I don't even know why I'm writing this. Maybe it's to make sense of things. Or maybe it's just because I need someone, anyone, to know what's happening to me. Since this morning, everything has spiraled out of control. I thought staying out of the apartment would help, but no matter where I go, it feels like it's following me. I woke up early at a friend's house hoping for some peace. I didn't tell them what's going on. I didn't want to sound insane, but when I opened my eyes, their cat was sitting in the doorway of the guest room, staring at me. Its fur was matted and wet, even though my friend swore it hadn't been outside. Then I noticed a faint, damp footprint next to the bed. I decided to head home to grab some clothes and figure out my next move. But as soon as I stepped into the apartment, the air felt heavier. It was hard to breathe, like something was pressing down on my chest. When I walked into the bathroom, I saw the mirror fogged up, as though someone had just showered, even though I hadn't been home. Written in the condensation were 3 words: "Don't fight it." I can't bring myself to sleep. The whispers have grown louder throughout the day, almost like they're trying to form words. I don't recognize the language, but it's deep and guttural. like something choking on the sounds. It all came to a head a couple of hours ago. I heard water dripping and thought it was the kitchen sink, but when I walked down the hall, I saw a puddle forming. It led straight to my bedroom. My bed was completely soaked. Sheets, mattress, everything. And in the middle of it was the hairbrush, the same one I threw away. Twice. I don't know how it keeps coming back. I don't know how any of this is happening. I've kept all the lights on since this morning, but they've started flickering. My phone battery drains faster than it should, and no matter how many times I check the time, it's like it never changes. I called my parents earlier today, desperate for help. The call dropped midway through. When I checked my phone, the last call wasn't to them. It was to an unknown number. I don't remember dialing it. I don't even know how long the call lasted. Right now, I'm sitting in my car writing this. I can't go back inside, but I can't stay out here much longer either. Every time I look up at the window, I see the shadow of someone standing there, watching me, waiting. Something is going to happen tonight. I don't know what, but I can feel it. Whatever this is, it doesn't want me to leave, and I'm not sure I'll survive if I try. If you don't hear from me again, please just don't come looking for me. Whatever this thing is, it's not just haunting me anymore. It's taking me. Today. When my family decided to travel to Florida, I was beyond excited. The thought of sunny beaches, thrilling theme parks, and quality time with my family ignited a spark of joy in me. My best friend, who was also 10 at the time, joined us on this trip since our families were close. The anticipation of our holiday was palpable, and we could hardly wait to embark on this adventure together. When we arrived in Florida, everything seemed perfect. The weather was warm, palm trees swayed gently in the breeze, and the vibrant colors of the surroundings were mesmerizing. Our accommodation was cozy, with cheerful decor, and we quickly settled into a routine of exploring the area during the day and unwinding in the evenings. The first few nights passed in laughter and fun. We spent our days visiting amusement parks, splashing in the pool, and savoring delicious local cuisine. Each night, we stayed up late, sharing stories and playing games, creating memories that felt like they would last forever. But then came the third night, which turned into a haunting memory for my friend. As usual, we were up late, but around 2:40 a.m., my friend decided to head to the bathroom. I was still awake, either lost in my thoughts or dozing off, when he left. When he returned, he saw me standing at the door, or at least he thought it was me. He laughed, assuming I needed the bathroom, but instead of responding, I just stared at him. Confused, he went back to bed, dismissing it as a silly moment. However, as he later recounted, he woke up again to find me still standing there. That's when fear truly began to creep in. The next morning felt surreal. When my friend shared his experience, I was baffled. I had no recollection of standing at the door, and my disbelief only deepened his unease. He looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept at all. The fear in his eyes was evident, and I could tell the incident had shaken him. Reflecting on that night, I can't help but wonder what really happened. Was it a sleepwalking episode? Or was something more mysterious at play? The experience added an unexpected layer of intrigue to our holiday. Regardless of the explanation, it became a story we would tell for years to come, a tale of friendship, fear, and the unknown. The rest of the trip passed uneventfully. Still, the image of me standing at the door in darkness will always linger in my mind as a curious thought. But for my friend, it remains a truly horrific sight. I moved houses in my town because of my dad's work, and the house we moved into had a history of people dying in it. I don't know exactly how many, but I know for sure the old couple who used to live there passed away. The wife died first, and then the husband went outside one day, fell on the dirt driveway, and died. My friend was neighbors with him, and her mom was the one who called the police. There were also rumors that a man had hung himself in the house. Anyway, during the first couple of years we lived there, strange things started happening. My dogs would sit in the living room and bark at complete darkness in other rooms. One time, I was walking in the hallway at night and stopped in front of the laundry room doorway because I thought I saw something. There was a giant shadow figure in the corner of the room, staring right at me. I froze for a moment, and then I ran straight to my room. Another time, my friend was walking past my house and called me because they saw someone inside. They described it as a giant shadow figure standing in the window. I had never told them what I saw before, but their description was almost exactly the same as mine. Then one night, my sister came into my room and told me the outdoor string lights were exploding. We could see them through the sliding glass doors. We watched as, one by one, a random light would suddenly go very bright, then explode with a violent popping sound. I looked over to where the lights were plugged in and noticed they weren't plugged in at all. We were too scared to go outside at night, so we waited until the morning to check on them. But when we went out, everything was perfectly fine. None of the lights were broken, and nothing looked out of place. I don't know enough about electricity to explain what happened, so I'm still at a loss. It's been a while since anything strange has happened, but I wanted to share my experiences. If anyone has an explanation for the lights, feel free to let me know. When I was 8, my family moved into a giant house that was far too big for us. It had originally been built as a duplex, but had been converted into a single-family home. The house had a semi-finished attic we used as a playroom and a terribly creepy basement that came complete with a wheelchair left behind by the previous owners. I'm not making this up. We never got rid of it. There was also an unsettling secret passage, a narrow staircase that ran from the second floor to the basement. It was presumably built so the original second-floor tenants could access the basement, but in my mind, it was just another way for whatever creepy things lived in the basement to come up to the bedrooms. Even the bike shed gave me the creeps. From an early age, I remember feeling uneasy in that house. I recall playing alone in my room and experiencing an overwhelming sense of dread, like someone was leaning over my shoulder. This wasn't a one-time thing. It was a feeling that followed me throughout our time living there. The attic, while technically finished, always had dead flies on the windowsills and smelled musty. Being in that space never felt right, even when I was with friends. My mom confided in me after we moved out that she had felt the same creepy discomfort I had. It wasn't just me. It was the house. I even used to fall asleep listening to Paul Simon's Graceland because I convinced myself that no bad ghost could stand the positivity of that album. One night, I had a nightmare. So as usual, I crept into my parents' room. But when I opened the door, I saw the silhouette of someone standing by the window, kind of hunched and slightly tilted to the side. Their hair was messy, and I assumed it was my mom. Since my parents didn't usually let me into their bed if they were awake, I decided to sneak back into my own bed. The next morning, I asked my mom what she was doing looking out the window. She had no idea what I was talking about. She'd never got out of bed. To this day, I can still vividly picture the silhouette of that figure standing by the window, illuminated by the orange glow of the streetlights. We moved out of that house when I was 13. But the strange thing is, for the last 30 years, I've had recurring dreams or nightmares about moving back into that house. 1 or 2 a year, consistently. In these dreams, the scenarios vary. Sometimes, we're moving back, and it's like nothing has been touched since we left. Even the food is still in the fridge, but now it's rotted into a disgusting sludge. Other times, my parents are moving back, but they're in a weird, passive, almost hypnotic state about it. Meanwhile, I'm fully aware I'm an adult and insist that I'll never visit them there. Sometimes, the house has been renovated. Other times, it hasn't. Once, I dreamed that I was digging in the dirt under the front porch and found a creepy ring. Last week, I dreamed I'd moved back in with my wife and family. I was lighting a fire in the wood stove on the second floor when I noticed a figure in the next room. My parental instincts kicked in, and I charged into the room to protect my family. What I saw was a 7-foot-tall, wrinkled man wearing black robes, kind of like that freaky dude from Poltergeist 2. Halfway through tackling him, I realized I was having another one of these dreams. That's when I woke up. I have no idea what's up with that house, but I still walk by it sometimes when I visit my hometown. The new owners painted it and put up a basketball net. They seem happy.